In this video, I want to dive into how you can build your creative business and you can grow it to 10, 15, 20K plus per month, every month, predictably, without burning out, without running yourself into the ground, without working 7 days a week, without doing midnight sprints of editing, without dealing with clients who make you feel anxious, make you feel overwhelmed, make you feel like you're a slave in their business. Now, a lot of my mentorship clients come to me because they're really good at what they do, right? They've already got the talent. And most of them have been freelancing for a few years. So they have a decent pool of clients. They're typically earning relatively good money, but they don't know how to go from freelancing, which in a lot of ways is a glorified job, right? A lot of them will admit if they don't work, take time off, want to go traveling, want to go on holiday, the business stands still. There's no money coming in. And they want to transition from that. They want to be able to transition from working by themselves, potentially working, more hours than they want to, and build a business that gives them more freedom, more time. And that's been my area of expertise for many years. I was able to crack that code at the age of 23 in my first business, where I built a team, which allowed me to then go travel. I traveled to Bali, I traveled to New Zealand. I did a big 3-month tour of just traveling, whilst my business was running in the background. I was away in different countries and the business was still running in the UK. From there, I went into running agencies. I was a partner in multiple agencies. This has taken me around the world on big filming shoots. And, it was a time in my life where I really enjoyed it. And I have some amazing memories when I look back at traveling Australia and flying to Bali and Canada. But I also reached a point there where getting into a relationship, building a family, I didn't want to be flying around all the time. And this passion, this desire to have freedom and live life on my terms is what's really made me go down the rabbit hole in figuring out, well, how do you do that? How do you create that? So I'm not saying, you may be watching this and like, I've got a client right now who loves traveling. He's just spent 6 weeks traveling around Africa and different places, and that's literally what his business is about. But you may not want to do that. You may want to have more time for your family. So either way, if your goal is freedom, if your goal is to increase your revenue, make more money, and do that in a way that works with your lifestyle, then this video is for you. So really, when we look at growing a business to 20K a month, it's simple mathematics, right? And it all comes down to the offer that you're selling. So for example, let's say your average offer is 5K. So the average client value, the average package you work on is 5K. Well, you would need to sell 4 of those every month to generate 20K. Now, that might be overly simplified. You might have clients at different levels, but typically what we're looking for when we're building a business is just a target where we know that if we're selling something that's 10K, we need 2 sales a month to generate that. If we're selling something that's 5K, we need 4 sales. If we're selling something that's 2K, we need 10 sales. And it's literally about building the business around that. And this brings me to my first point where most creatives get stuck, which is they're undercharging, because most creatives' average project from the people I've been speaking to is like £500 to £1,000. And when you go deeper than that and you say, well, how much time are you spending on that project to generate that? Now, if you're spending 2 days on a project to sell, let's say you're a filmmaker, right, a videographer, and you go film, and let's say you charge £800, and you've got travel time in there, you've got the shoot time in there, you've got the editing time in there, maybe you've got some client calls in there, you've got a revision process in there. Before you know it, you've been on that project for, let's say, 2 days. Well, if you're making £800, for 2 days work, and let's round up, let's make the maths even simpler. Let's say you're making £1,000 for 2 days work. For you to get to 20K a month by yourself is just not going to be possible. Because even if you worked 6 days a week, you would be generating 3K. So 3K every week, what's that? 3, 6, 9, 12,000. It'd be impossible to get to 20K. The only way you'd get to 20K from there is if you had another videographer who was then going and doing all the filming, right? Now, that might get you to 20K a month, but it's not going to get you to 20K a month in profit. You might find that your margins are going to come down. So a general rule when I'm mentoring my clients is we look at their day rate and we value it, and I get them to value their time at £1,000 per day. Now, just making that change in pricing and just looking at everything you offer, like value your time at that, technically you could get to 20K a month solo working 5 days a week. Now, that might sound a little bit ideal, right? And chances are you might not even want to work full 5 days a week. And it's not actually the route I recommend. What I recommend is clients to look at valuing their time at £1,000 per day so that they can put team in place. And the first hire I get a creative to make typically is an editor, because more often than not, we look at a project and we look at time in a project, and normally editing is like 2/3 of the process. So if we can outsource 2/3 of that process, right? Or let's say we can get a day back for every day that we spend, let's say 50%. If we can get a day back, and let's say we've priced our time at £1,000 a day. So now a 2-day project is 2K. Well, if we outsource that editing part, and let's say that costs us 300, we've now made 1,700 on 2 days work. And we've got a day back. So if we were to simply just work on 2 to 3 projects a week, right? So let's say 3 days work a week. Well, we're now over 20K a month. And it's that shift that allows creatives to go from burnt out working every single day to building a business they can grow to 20K a month. It also gives you the margin if you want to scale further and you want to go away and travel like I've done many times. You can put a videographer, right? You can put someone in your shoes to fill that role. And this is really like the biggest change you can make, which is charging more and structuring your time more effectively to actually build a team and create freedom in the business so you can travel and do the things that you want to do. Now, understanding that is the big part, and that's understanding the model. And in order to charge more, 9 times out of 10, you need to transition from freelancer to agency, because the positioning of an agency to a client in a lot of ways is more valuable than working with a freelancer. Because typically people's perception of a freelancer is lower paying. So when I speak to clients where, they're working with clients, but they feel like they're a bit more of a cog in their business, and they're not necessarily treated with the respect that they'd like, or they just feel like they're not respected with regards to their time and deliverables. When you start positioning yourself as an agency and a business, that is how you build that trust. It's all about positioning. It's positioning yourself to an organization or as a business that you are an expert and, you have a team. And even if you don't have a team, you can still create this perception that you have a team. And I think this shift in, freelancer to agency, people overcomplicate this and they start thinking that, well, I need to have I need to have a studio to do that, or I need to have a big team to do that. And that's not true at all. When I say I've been a partner in an agency, that's on different levels. We've had a team of about 8 people. I've ran an agency model where it's just me, and I've freelanced work out to other people in my network. So you don't need to have a big team. You don't need to have a big office. You don't need to have lots of complexities to position yourself as an agency, but you do have to position yourself. So through brand, through your marketing, like the perception you put out is what influences that in the customer's eyes. And doing that is going to allow you to charge more. Now, understanding that part is really key, because if you don't do that, you're probably going to stay stuck as a freelancer, meaning you're relying on work from other agencies. It makes it very difficult for you to charge the rates where you can build and bring on a team. And ultimately, if you're looking for freedom and you're looking to build a business and not just have a job, like, you're going to need to go that route at some point. The other part to this equation, getting to 20K a month, if you've been following me so far, I appreciate I'm chucking numbers at a screen to you. But, in order to get to 20K a month, like, we obviously need to have an offer that stacks up. So we need to be charging enough for that to make sense to hit those targets. Like I said, as a simple example, if the average project is 5K, we sell 4 of them a month to hit 20K. And you can scale on and go even further than this. I use 20K as a general example. Now, the biggest thing that stops someone doing that is marketing. Because if you don't have a marketing system in place to bring the right types of clients in, then you're not going to be able to make those offers and you're not going to be able to hit those sales. So when we look at marketing, the simplest thing you can do when you're already earning good money is run advertising. So for me, I like to use paid advertising. My background in this, I actually used to run a paid advertising agency. I had a business partner who's a head of media buying. We managed, he personally managed millions in ad spend. And he's someone who's now an advisor in high paid creatives to help other creatives with their marketing. I like paid advertising because it's a pay to play model. And the authority and position you get from advertising is much superior to outreach. And I'm not going to shit on outreach. I'm not going to say don't do outreach. For a lot of clients, if they're not at a level to invest in ads, we'll work with outreach. And it's a good foundation. But what I've found with working with creatives and videographers that are busy is oftentimes that's where they drop the ball. They get busy, they stop doing outreach, they kind of stop marketing, things slow down. And that's a symptom of them being too busy and undercharging, but it's also a problem at the same time. So if we introduce paid advertising, that takes a lot less time than doing outreach. And also when you're doing paid advertising, you're bringing leads into your ecosystem, the positioning is better because they've chosen to engage with you, right? They've chosen to come to you from an ad, not you've come into their DMs on LinkedIn or Instagram, or you've gone through their email. And they're all potentially valid methods. I'm not going to say don't do outreach. Like I said, it can work. But if you want a predictable way to add clients into your business, developing a paid advertising strategy, in my opinion, is the best way to do it. Now, let's say we have ads in place. We've got marketing, we've got lead generation come in. So we've got leads coming to us. We know we've got an offer we can charge 2, 5, 10, 20K for. The next gap for most creatives in actually being able to grow a 20K per month business is confidence. It's mindset. It all starts with belief. If you don't believe you can get to 20K a month, you're probably not going to operate in a way that would get you to 20K a month because you're saying it's outside of you. It's not possible. So one, just believing in the ability to do that. We obviously need to start there. Secondly is confidence in sales process, confidence in yourself, confidence in your worth. If you get nervous or if you don't break past being able to ask for more money because you're too scared to ask for more money, then you're never going to ask for more money, right? And sometimes with clients, it is literally just a confidence thing. You might be pricing something up, have a conversation with someone, and instead of saying 1K, you say 2K. Instead of saying 2K, you say 3K. Instead of saying 3K, you say 5K, right? That might be influenced based on the niche you're in, the service you're offering. There's variable factors within that. But 9 times out of 10, if you're good at what you do, the difference in what you charge is really just what you're willing to put your price and your name to. And these are all things I help clients with in High Paid Creatives. Like when clients start with me, we look at the mission, we look at the vision to help them get clear on what they're actually building over the next 6 to 12 months. And a lot of creatives come to me because they have ideas and they have goals, but they're not quite sure on how they're going to make that happen. Right? They know that where they're at right now is not the end goal. It's not that they hate what they're doing. Sometimes they're burnt out and they kind of resent it, but they just want to have more time and freedom. They just want to be able to enjoy the money they're making, and they want to be able to go on holiday more, right? They want to be able to invest in more camera gear. They want to be able to invest in themselves. Maybe it's property, maybe it's cars. They want to have more freedom and time to enjoy life, but they want to make more money to be able to keep growing. And that's 9 times out of 10 what we'll focus on. We'll look at how we streamline and systemize the business to create more time. We'll look at marketing and sales to grow the business. And then a lot of it is personal development, because at the end of the day, a business can only grow as far as the person that is running it. So if you have things that are holding you back personally, whether it's your confidence, your mindset, maybe you're not looking after your health, there's all these factors. In the community, we dive into this shit because for me, my background before I was, I've been building businesses since I was 21. I'm 33 years old right now. My first business was a fitness business. It was a high-ticket personal training studio. So I had a facility, I had a team, and I started from zero. I started from training people out of parks and literally got a $3,000 credit card and, worked my ass off to build that business into about £25,000 a month. And at that point, it gave me the margins to be like, I'm going to go travel. I'm going to do this stuff. Bought a new car, just went and lived life. And I really just enjoyed those years in my 20s of growing and just investing into myself. And through that journey, I realized that I had this big passion for building brands and growing businesses. So that was where I stepped into more agency work. I've worked with some big influencers around the world, variety of different businesses. I personally ran 3 different agencies. 2 of those were in different partnerships. And, through 13 years of building businesses, for me, the things that stay true and are kind of constant is that in order to grow a business, it's 2 things. It's innovation and it's marketing. You need to be innovating in what you do so you can be better than your competition. You need to be innovating in your marketing so you can stand out. And you need to have control of your marketing, Because if you're not controlling your marketing, you're not in control of your lead flow. And if you're not in control of your lead flow, you're not in control of your sales. And if you're not in control of your sales, you're not in control of your business. So if you're watching this and maybe you're doing well, but there's no real systems in place for marketing, or you want to implement paid advertising, maybe you're stuck at 5 to 10K months and you're thinking, right, well, how do I go from this to 10, 15, 20K plus? How do I create the margins to actually hire people? How do I hire people that I can trust? How do I buy back more time so I can actually enjoy life? And if that's where you're at right now, I'd love to invite you to book a free call with me. There's nothing to lose on this. You don't need to bring a card. I'm not gonna pressure you into buying anything, but I will have a conversation with you and I'll listen to where you're at and I'll give you advice on what you can do. And if I feel like I can help, if I feel like you're a good fit for high paid creatives, I'll talk through what that looks like. I'll extend an invite into the program. But if I don't, I won't. And if, at the worst case scenarios, you come in and you learn some stuff, awesome. So that's it for me today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about next and enjoy your week.